What is the creepiest thing that has ever happened to you? The time I saw a man who shouldn't have been there is still scary. I was maybe 8 years old, playing in my backyard. We lived in a pretty rural area, woods all around. I glanced up and saw a man standing at the edge of the woods, just staring at me. He was tall and thin, wearing a dark suit. What made it so weird was that there was no way he could have gotten there without walking through our yard, and I hadn't seen or heard anyone. I blinked, and he was gone. I still wonder about that guy. My grandma used to talk to someone who wasn't there, and it wasn't fun. My grandmother suffered from dementia in her later years. One afternoon, while visiting her, she started having a very animated conversation with the empty chair across from her. She was laughing and nodding, saying things like, "Oh, I agree," and "That's so funny." Then her face turned serious. She leaned forward and whispered, "But you shouldn't have done that to her. She didn't deserve that." I got the chills and left the room. The night the toys came to life left a very bad mark on my mind. I was home alone one night as a teenager. The power went out, which wasn't unusual during storms. I went to grab a flashlight, and as I walked past the living room, I heard distinct children's laughter coming from inside. I froze. We didn't have any kids, and the nearest neighbor was a quarter-mile away. I slowly crept to the doorway, shining the flashlight around. My younger brother's old toys were scattered on the floor, and the laughter seemed to be coming from them. I noped my way out of there and waited on the porch until my parents got home. There was a man in my room, and he did the worst possible thing. I woke up in the middle of the night to the feeling of someone watching me. My eyes fluttered open, and there he was, a man standing at the foot of my bed, just staring. I couldn't scream. I was paralyzed with fear. He slowly raised his hand and pointed at me, then turned and walked out of the room. I finally found my voice and screamed, but he was gone. We called the police, but they never found anyone. I never slept in that room again. I thought I was alone, but I wasn't, and I felt it so bad. I was working late in my office one night. Everyone else had left hours ago. As I was packing up, I heard a distinct whisper right behind me. It sounded like my name. I spun around, but there was no one there. I dismissed it as my imagination at first, but then I heard it again, clearer this time. I grabbed my things and ran out of the office, not stopping until I was in my car. I never worked late again. That time I saw myself, I knew something was not okay at all. I was walking down a crowded street one day when I saw myself walking towards me. It was uncanny, an exact replica. We made eye contact, and she smirked before disappearing into the crowd. I stood there frozen, wondering if I was hallucinating. To this day, I can't explain what I saw. That time I saw a ghost, I really thought I would die of fear. My childhood home was old and creaky. One night, I woke up to a cold draft and saw a figure standing in the corner of my room. It was a woman in a long white dress, and her face was obscured by shadows. She just stood there, unmoving. I was terrified and pulled the covers over my head. When I peeked out a few minutes later, she was gone. I convinced myself it was a dream, but I never felt comfortable in that house again. The day I realized the house had a memory was very scary. We moved into a new house, and strange things started happening almost immediately. Doors would open and close on their own, and we'd hear footsteps in the attic when no one was up there. One day, I found a hidden room behind a bookshelf. Inside, there were old photographs and letters detailing a tragic love affair that had ended with someone dying in the house. It felt like the house was reliving its past.